Hello, Global Field Program. I'm so excited. My name's Aiden. I'm going with you guys to Costa Rica. You've probably noticed through my posts and my little avatar that I'm a big bird nerd, and people have expressed on like the boards and stuff that they're excited to bird. I am a big birder. I've participated in a lot of the Christmas bird counts. I've organized Christmas bird count for kids, and the Great Backyard Bird Count. So I'm a big birder, big bird nerd. And some people have expressed interest in birding, and on the trips, historically, I get a window seat and point out birds to everybody, which I really love to do, and I really love to help other people bird. But I thought it would be helpful before we go in country, because I'd love to help you guys bird there too, for me to give you some very quick, easy ways to start birding and to prepare for the trip if there's something you particularly want to see. Again, there's never any promises in birding, but you can prepare so you might see the bird you want. So first things first, a guide, because there's so many birds in the world, and who can ever remember them all? I really like this one. I got it off of Amazon. It's second edition Birds of Costa Rica with this little toucanet on front. Well, technically an R, sorry, but and it's a really good one. It's by Zona Tropical publication. It's by Richard someone, I can't say his last name, and Robert Dean. And I really like it because I get very excited about seeing hawks. I mean, excited about lots of things. You'll learn that as we get to know one another. I'm very excitable. But I like that you can open the cover right here, and it opens up to a raptor chart of raptors in flight. Very rarely are you going to see the top of a raptor, unless they're on a branch and you're looking at their back. But this is very critical information. This is so helpful. It's also got the page number if you want to try and identify them further. I'm not going to lie, I'm very excited about this one, the ornate hawk eagle. And that one's great. That's one of my favorites. But I really like it. It's got great pictures. It's got a great map. It also has a very handy-dandy part right here. At the very beginning, it's got information about the climate and topography of Costa Rica, and about a little bit about each habitat. So the Pacific lowlands, southern Pacific lowlands. It's got some great maps in it. But also, I really like that it gives the parts of a bird. I have been birding for a long time now, and I even still don't very much pay attention to necessarily the parts of the bird and the like eye rings and stuff like this. This is all very specific, like the lateral throat stripe and the orbital skin. That's all very specific information, which you are probably not going to get as a bird like whizzes past. So I have some other things for you to focus on instead of the postocular stripe or the postocular spot. When you get down to it, I've seen people debate the identification of a bird for a long time, for like an hour, which let me tell you is the most boring thing, because nobody can prove what they saw, essentially. So the best thing to do is look at the bird. There's several parts that are important, though. This is the belly and breast, the head, the tail, and the wing. Sweet. There's the wing. You can see all of it. These parts here are called primaries, secondaries, tertiaries, but who cares, really? Because what I think everybody should pay attention to is beak, feet, and feathers in that order. Birding gets really easy once you learn the shape of a bird. So take a minute and imagine like an egret. Most of us have seen an egret or a swan or something like that. And you have a pretty, or let's go with flamingo. So tropical. A flamingo, that S shape, tall bird. We all know the shape in our heads of a flamingo. So you have a pretty solid idea of what that looks like. Now if a bird flies overhead and it looks like that shape, you will be like, oh, it's probably a flamingo. That will help you because these books are can be very hard to navigate in a split second. But if you see something and it's flying and it's got very broad wings, you're like, oh, and it's all black, you'd be like, oh, that's probably a vulture. Then you can flip right to your vulture section and look at what it could be. So knowing the shape of birds, everybody knows the shape of a hummingbird. Very easy, very, very helpful. I highly recommend it. It's also kind of nerdy and fun to just be able to be like, oh yes, I know what that is. Also, the beak. I'm going to include in somewhere resources. Cornell Lab of Ornithology has a bunch of really good resources. If you think about it, birds don't have hands, so they need to have a special tool to help them eat whatever they're going to eat. So the beak of a hummingbird is very specific to certain plants. The beak of a hummingbird is different than the beak of a duck or a raptor. And so it's important to know essentially like the shape of the bird as it goes by or as you see it. Also, the shape of the beak is always really helpful. Color, I usually try and get 3 colors. If I'm like, it was green, red, and white, then you can sort of limit it within the group. So if you were looking at, for example, what's a good example? If you were looking at egrets, it's egret shaped, got the egret beak, spearing beak, and you'd be like, it was like a slaty gray, blue, and maybe a little black and some white. You can go to your egret and heron section and identify it as a great blue heron probably pretty easily, or at least narrow it down. The size of the bird is important, but if you're looking in hummingbirds, you know, a lot of hummingbirds are very similar in shape or in size. So good for big birds like herons and egrets and things like that. Another really good thing to look at is bird behavior, and I will talk about that in my next video.